Welcome to another Vixa Vaughn romance audiobook. We're excited to have you join us. Whether you're into second chance romance, enemies to lovers, fake marriage, or any other trope, Vixa Vaughn offers you the chance to escape into stories that will carry you away into heart-pounding romance and gripping characters. While we want to get you the full experience, some parts of this audiobook are abridged to stay abreast of YouTube's community guidelines. If you want the full experience, you can always head to Vixa Vaughn Romance and use code VIXA40 to get the unabridged version of this audiobook for 40% off. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Chapter 1. David. Slowly I swipe the pictures on my phone. I can't help but smile. My son, Jamie, loves taking selfies whenever he gets his little hands on my phone. His cookie smiles and silly faces never fail to make me laugh. I miss this ball of energy. Good thing I'm going to see him on Friday. I look forward to the weekends because that's the only time I get to be with him. It's been almost 2 years since my ex-wife, and I separated. What I thought was a perfect relationship ended up in divorce. There were just too many things that we disagreed on that we were unable to live with each other anymore. The entire process was quite messy and painful. A lot of things were thrown at each other, and both of us didn't want to back down. Everything was settled in around 6 months. Unfortunately, the most affected is our only son. If there was one thing that I really fought for, it's Jamie. I got the best lawyers to make sure that he wouldn't be taken away from me. I've got as much right to him as his mother does. I promised to abide by all the guidelines and be a good father so that I wouldn't lose him. Thankfully, the court granted us joint custody for Jamie so that he gets to spend time with both his mother and me. Since he goes to a school near her house, which is also part of the settlement, he spends weekdays with his mom. I get to be with him Friday nights after work, Saturday and Sunday morning. Then he's back to his mom again. I also get to spend time with Jamie if there are special occasions. During breaks and holidays, he splits his time between us. It must be taking a toll on him being juggled back and forth, but he's a real trooper and doesn't complain. That's why I make sure that every bit of time we spend together is worth it. I may not be the perfect dad, but I try to be the best that I can be. I lock my phone and put my focus back to work. Being the founder and one of the partners of Tudor Ventures is no joke. Work seems endless, and at times it can be overwhelming. I try to get as much work done as I can during the weekdays so that I could focus on Jamie on weekends. I'm immersed in spreadsheets, reviewing the entries one by one. I know this is no longer part of my job, but I'm kind of meticulous when it comes to working. I don't want a single detail to be missed out. Out of the blue, my phone rings. I glance at the screen and it shows my lawyer, Elias Riley, calling. I answer it immediately. I'm sure he won't be calling me if this isn't urgent. Hello, Elias. What's the matter? Good day, David. I've got some important news to tell you. Is now a good time? I'm actually in the middle of work. What's this about? I inquire. It's about Valerie and your son, Jamie. I close the spreadsheets. Jamie is more important than these. Go ahead. I'm all ears. Riley hesitates for a while as if he's deciding how to relay the news. He clears his throat several times. Well, one of Valerie's counsel contacted me earlier today. He told me that Valerie is filing for a petition to get sole custody of your son. I'm stunned. My whole world stopped for a while as I try to process the news. Is this for real? What? Why? I've been complying with every detail of the agreement that we have. She doesn't have any reason to do that. Does she? Riley makes a non-committal sound. She can do whatever she wants. What we need to do is build up our argument so that the courts will not judge in favor of her. Do you know under what grounds she's filing the sole custody? I ask. According to the initial documents that were sent to me earlier, it's because you're a workaholic who's hardly at home. That's why you're unfit to take care of Jamie. That's ridiculous. I only do that on weekdays when Jamie's not with me. I argue. Also, Valerie says that New York City is not the best city to raise a child in. She wants to settle down in Chicago, where she says it's more family-friendly. I feel my anger bubbling up. I used to love the simple, driven woman that Valerie was before. I wonder what happened to her to do these things. I take a few deep breaths to calm myself. That's just bull. We all know there's one thing she's really after, and that's the reason why she wants sole custody of Jamie. My parents made sure that Jamie will grow up comfortably. After all, he's their only grandchild. In their last will, they left a sizable amount for Jamie's inheritance. This is in a form of a trust fund that Jamie will only have access to when he turns 21 years old. I'm sure Valerie wants to take control of that, so he's taking Jamie far away from me. That's why we have to make sure that we got solid evidence to convince the court that you fit the definition of a good father. For starters, I suggest you start cutting down the time you spend in the office, even if it's weekdays, Elias explains. I understand. I've got a crazy idea. Why don't you get married again? You could sway the judge in your favor if they can see that you've got a nice, stable relationship. I laugh out loud. That's definitely crazy. And a terrible idea. I don't want to go through marriage and get divorced again. I'm just going to make you rich. Then that's better for me then. We agree to set a meeting next week so that we can start planning our defense. So I'm not going to let Valerie win. I'll make sure of that.
Chapter 2. Kayla. I turned the key to unlock the door of my boutique. Rare Gems is my pride and joy. It's a little bit early. The store officially opens at 9 a.m., and my assistant Amber usually comes in at around 8:30. I've got the place to myself for now. I arrange our items on the shelf a little bit. I also fix the business cards, which are strategically placed at different points in our store. Kayla Martin, jewelry designer / general manager. That's what's written on the cards. I'm a psychologist by course and profession, but creating and designing jewelry is my passion. I don't exactly remember when I found jewelry making interesting, but I know that I enjoyed creating different accessories. Do you know those bead sets that allow you to create and design bracelets and necklaces? I always wanted one of those when I was a kid. I used to write to Santa Claus every Christmas asking for that gift. We were a middle-class family, but my parents carefully chose the gifts that they gave us. Unfortunately, it was almost always not a toy, as they didn't find that practical. Year after year, I got different gifts, which left me disappointed. Until one Christmas morning, I couldn't believe my eyes when I opened my present. It was the latest beadwork toy with all the tools. I was so ecstatic that I went to work right away. I made countless unique designs to my heart's content. That started my desire, but I had to set it aside during college. Most of my family got medical-related degrees, so it was kind of expected for me to get one too. In the end, I chose psychology. I persevered through college and graduated with awards. For a while, I tried practicing my profession, but it left me drained and uninspired. Everything was just routine, which started affecting what I do. So I decided to just quit and leave the medical field. After some reflection, and with a little help and prodding from my friends, I got the courage to finally do what I really love. With the savings that I have, I decided to rent a store space in one of the buildings here in New York City. That's when Rare Gems was born. Although we've got some of the usual jewelry pieces, like earrings, necklaces, and rings, our specialty lies in our bespoke jewelry. They're designed and crafted to suit the personality and needs of our customers. In a short period, we're able to have a small but loyal clientele. Then word started to spread, and our customers grew in numbers. We've earned a sizable amount, and I'm already planning to relocate and expand the store to the more prime section of the city. The chimes at the door jingle, making me look up. I see Amber entering with an intimidating man behind her. I look at Amber's face, and I can tell that she's nervous. I try to calm my nerves as I approach them. You can go inside, Amber. Please start doing inventory, I instruct her. In a split second, Amber's gone inside the shop office. I address the gentleman. Good day. The shop's still closed until 9 a.m. Maybe you can come back a little bit later. Once we're ready, I can help you with anything you need. The man looks straight at me. I'm not a customer. I'm looking for Miss Kayla Martin, the owner of this store. I start to get nervous. That's me. What can I do for you? He opens his messenger bag and looks for something. He fishes one white envelope and hands it to me. I'm from the Whitewall Collecting Agency. I'm here on behalf of my clients to ask for payment regarding your debts. Debts? What debts? I haven't made any loans, I argue. You must be mistaken. He motions at the envelope in my hands. I tear it open and read the contents. I feel the blood draining from my face with every sentence that I read. I want to scream, but it's as if I lost my voice and I'm just rooted in the place where I'm standing. Debt amounting to $500,000, with interest and penalties, due by the end of the month. Those words stick to my mind as I reread the whole thing again. How the hell did this happen? Look, I don't know yet what happened, but I'm going to find out. Kindly assure your clients that all debts will be paid on time. I've taken note of the due date and their accounts. I'll make sure that the money will be transferred to them. I'll take your word on that. The next time I come back, it might not end up nicely. The man turns around and leaves the store. I immediately dial Jordan's phone number, but just as I expected, it's unreachable. Jordan is my ex-boyfriend. We broke up 2 weeks ago, and I haven't heard from him since then. He said he's tired of our relationship, and he just walked out. He didn't even bother to explain. I thought it's just some kind of phase, and he'll come back begging for forgiveness. Apparently, I'm wrong. There's a bigger scheme behind all the drama. I go inside the office and check our financial files. Upon closer inspection, it shows that Jordan frequently stole money from the business, but in small amounts so that it won't be noticeable right away. Then he made loans using the company's name. Amber, we're not going to open the store today. I need to deal with this first. You can go home if you want. I reach for the phone and dial the number for the police station. I made a report about the theft so that there'll be an alert that he's no longer connected to my business, just in case he still tries to use our name. Next, I dial the number of Alexis, my best friend. She answers at the second ring. Kayla, she greets me. Why are you calling? Jordan is a jerk, I scream. We've established that many times. What happened? I tell her everything over the phone. She patiently listens to me as I rant to her, everything that I found out. I'm angry, upset, and afraid, all at the same time. How will I be able to find that large sum of money in time to pay the debts? I sob. Calm down. Once your emotions have subsided, we can think of a plan to get you out of this place. I need to pay this. My future depends on it. If I'm unable to produce the money, they'll take all my assets, and I'll lose the shop and everything that I worked hard for. I can't let that happen. I won't allow it.
Chapter 3. David. As advised by my lawyer, I start cutting back on working hours. I make sure that I avoid overtime, although there are quite a few instances wherein I had to quickly review a document or send an email or two, even though I'm already at home. Weekends are a different story. Unless it's going to be a valid emergency like someone's going to lose his head if I don't respond, I don't allow anything work-related. Thankfully, nothing like that has ever happened. All calls, if any, are routed to my assistant, Alice. My time with Jamie has always been special to me. But ever since the whole custody case came up again, I make sure that all the time that my son spends with me will be memorable. Elias says that it's highly unlikely that they'll make Jamie testify for this case, but it won't hurt to take the extra step. If I lose the case, which I hope will not happen, at least Jamie will have solid memories about his dad and how much I love him. It's Friday night. Jamie and I have finished our chicken fingers and mac and cheese. He takes his evening shower, and I help him change into his pajamas. We brush our teeth together, and then we settle down in my bed with his teddy. I cover him with a blanket. "What do you want to do tomorrow, kiddo?" His face frowns in concentration. "Daddy, can we go to where the fishes live? We studied about them at school this week. I want to see fish." "Of course we can. I'll take you to the aquarium tomorrow." Jamie yawns and his little eyes start to droop. "I think it's time for you to sleep, young man." He rubs his eyes and doesn't protest as I tuck him in. "Good night, Daddy. I'm excited to see the fish tomorrow." "Good night, Jamie. Sleep tight." I turn the nightlight on, and Jamie and I both drift off to sleep. Jamie wakes up earlier than usual because he's excited about our trip today. I help him get ready, and after a breakfast of cereal and some yogurt, we're set to go. I strap him in the car seat together with his teddy and some other toys so that he won't get bored during the trip. As I drive, I play some nursery rhymes and kid songs as our background music. "Jamie, can I ask you a question?" "Will you miss me if we don't get to see each other during weekends?" "What do you mean? Are you going away?" he asks. No. It's just what you call a hypothetical question. For example, I need to leave the country for a few weeks because of work, and I won't be able to see you." He thinks about what I said. "Well, that would be a bummer. I'll miss you, of course, but then I'll get to see you again once you're back, right?" "Yes, that's right." We arrive at the aquarium where we spend almost 3 hours going around, looking at every species of fish and just generally having a good time. We both feel hungry at around lunchtime, so we go to the nearest McDonald's and grab our food. The little boy spent on our way home that he slept throughout the drive. We didn't have time to buy dinner, so I just ordered Chinese takeout because he loves chow mein. I won't let Valerie's ambition stop us from having more weekends like this. The work week passes by very slowly. Good thing that there's not a lot of issue with the company, letting me focus on the custody case. I'm slowly building my defense with the help of Elias. I'm casually reading my emails when a message notification alerts me. I check, and it's from my sister. "David! Are you busy? Have you already forgotten about your little sister?" I laugh a little. Alexis is my younger sister, and she can be a pain sometimes. Also, I know she won't stop until I reply, so I compose a message. "Are you talking about my annoying little sister? But you love me nonetheless." I don't have a choice, do I? Anyway, do you want to catch up and have dinner later? I heard about this new Italian restaurant, and I want to try it out. Sure, as long as you're paying. I'll send you the name and address. See you later. When I arrive at the restaurant, Alexis is already seated at the table, waiting for me. She waves at me, and I sit down across her. "I've already ordered some appetizers, but I'm waiting for you before we get the mains," she says as she calls the attention of the waiter. We then give our orders. "How's Jamie?" Alexis asks. "I miss that little boy." "He's doing fine. We went to the aquarium last weekend, and he enjoyed watching the swimming fishes. But I've got some sort of a problem." "What kind of problem?" "Valerie's filing a case for Jamie's sole custody. We all know what she's really after. Elias and I are already building our defense for it, but just thinking about it makes me feel anxious." "You know, I've never really liked Valerie," Alexis states. "That makes two of us. What about you? What's up with you?" "Well, nothing much. But do you remember my best friend, Kayla? Her ex-boyfriend stole money from her business and even had loans using her business name. Now she's pressed to pay all the debts as soon as possible, or else they'll take all of her assets. I try to rack my memory about Kayla. I do remember that she's one of the smart students in their class. She's also very creative. That's why she's got the jewelry business. One thing I won't forget about her is heart-shaped face and hazel eyes. She's very pretty." "That's terrible," I remark. "Wait, doesn't she have a degree in psychology?" "Yes, she practiced for a while, but eventually went into jewelry making." A crazy idea starts forming in my head. What if Kayla can help me have an advantage with my custody problem? It's a long shot, though. I can help Kayla. She could probably help me too with my situation with Valerie. What if we enter a fake marriage together? I'm expecting Alexis to vehemently disagree with my suggestion, but her answer surprised me. Why not? I think that's a really good idea. Could this possibly work?
Chapter 4. Kayla. These past few days, I've been thinking of all the possible ways on how to raise the money I need to pay the debt that my bastard ex-boyfriend left behind. My jewelry store remains open. It's a good thing that I still have a steady stream of customers, but it's not enough to cover the amount I need. In addition to the debt, I still have to sustain my everyday living expenses and the capital needed to keep my business going. I've swallowed my pride and already contacted some of my friends and relatives, hoping I could borrow some money from them with easier terms. Others are willing, but some aren't. I do understand them, though. It's not easy to lend money, especially if it's a large amount. In my desperation, unusual ways to earn money also crossed my mind. How much would I get if I sell my kidney on the black market? If I try my chances at the lottery, what are the odds that I would win? What if I work part-time as a psychologist again? I'm a little bit out of practice, but I'm sure I can find somewhere I can work for. I've already opened the store today, and I'm hoping for more clients. Amber is manning the shelves while I'm busy inside the office. Several spreadsheets are open on the computer. I'm checking the status of my savings in the bank. I'm trying to find out if there's an area where I can save money so that it could add to the debt fund that I'm building. But no matter how I try to manipulate and change the entries, I still end up short. My head's starting to throb. For the umpteenth time, I dial Jordan's number, hoping that he still has a conscience and returns what he's stolen from me. Unfortunately, just like before, his number is unattended. I've also tried sending him emails, but I never got a reply. Where the hell are you, Jordan? I hope you can still sleep after everything that you've done to me. Karma will bite you in the butt. I massage my temples. I'm thinking of getting a lawyer to help me through all of this, but that would just be an additional expense. I'm still bound to pay every cent that Jordan borrowed because it's made under my company's name. God, I could really use a miracle right now, I exclaim. I need a phone call saying that I inherited a big amount from a distant relative. A bag of cash dropping in front of me will also do. My imagination is cut by Amber knocking on the door. Kayla, are you all right? Yes, no, I don't know. Why are you here? Is there anything you need? A handsome man is looking for you outside. Oh my gosh, is she blushing? Who is it? I ask. Amber smiles at me sheepishly, like she lost all common sense. Sorry, I forgot to ask. Do you want me to tell him to just come back some other time? Suddenly, I realize that this could be important, so I stand up from the chair and fix my hair and clothes. No, it's okay. I'll handle this. I walk out of the office and see a man in a suit. His back is facing me. He's checking out some of the items that we have on display. Hello, I greet him. My assistant says you're looking for me. Is there anything that I can help you with? Custom jewelry design, I presume. He turns around and I get the shock of my life. It's David Preston. David is the older brother of my best friend, Alexis. I used to see him a lot when we were younger. I spent a lot of time at their house doing schoolwork. Honestly, I find him attractive, and I used to have a schoolgirl crush on him, but he's also arrogant, which makes me irritated with him. David, what a surprise. What brings you to my store? He raises his eyebrows at me and comes closer. I've got a proposition that I'd like to discuss with you. Can you take a short break? Let's talk over coffee at the nearby shop. I want to tell him that I'm busy, but I'm intrigued by his offer. I realize that I won't lose anything if I hear him out. I can easily decline later on. Amber, can you look after the store for a while? I just need to have a quick business meeting. I'll be back as soon as I can." Promptly, Amber comes out of the office and assures me that there'll be no problem while I'm away. David and I leave the store and walk toward the cafe at the street corner. We sit down at one of the tables, and he orders coffee for both of us. He starts to explain. "Kayla, Alexis has mentioned to me about your money problems." "I wish she hadn't," I interrupt. "It's kind of embarrassing." "Anyway, I think I have a solution to your problem, but please tell me that you'll listen to everything first before making your decision. Is that okay?" I shrug. "Sure." "I can pay off your debt and also help make your jewelry business a success if you agree to marry me and pretend to be my devoted wife." Did I hear him right? He wants me to marry him? Sorry? I've got to marry you? But why? Why me? I'm sure there are a lot of girls out there who's willing to do this for you, even for free. He chuckles. "You're right about that, but I need someone I can trust. You know that I'm divorced, right?" I nod my head. Right now, my devious ex-wife is filing for a case to get sole custody of our child. She's trying to make me look like a bad father. But the real reason why she's doing this is she wants to dip her hands in my son's inheritance. My eyes grow wide. This is more complicated than I thought. That's why I need you. I need someone I can trust. Also, I want to help you with your problem, so this is a pretty good deal for us. It's a win-win. I pause for a while as I try to digest everything that David has just said. The coffee arrives, but my mind's too occupied to even take a sip. "David, you know that this is a serious matter. Can you give me some time to think about it first?" I ask. "At least you're not saying no outright." "Okay, I'll give you a few days to mull things over. But I hope you tell me the answer soon because I know you've got a deadline." He writes his number on a paper and hands it to me. "Here's my contact details. Call me anytime once you've made up your mind." I get the paper and put it in my pocket. Then I bid David goodbye and start walking back toward the shop. I'm afraid to get entangled with David's affairs, but right now, this could be the best way to solve all my problems. Is he the miracle that I asked for?
Chapter 5. David, it's kind of nice to see Kayla again yesterday after so many months. Can't even remember the last time I saw her. But I have to admit, even though she's stressed with all her problems, she still looks very pretty, and her hazel eyes are still striking as ever. I gave her a lot to think about, but I'm hoping that she agrees with my plan. There's no one else I can think of who'd be perfect for the role. I know the move is quite risky, especially if someone finds out that we're just faking, but I'm sure Valerie won't be playing fair. I've got to do what it takes to win. I sent a text message to Alexis to update her on what happened. Guess what I did yesterday? In an instant, I get a reply. Sometimes I wonder if my sister is perpetually hooked to her phone. What? I'm not good at guessing games. Spill it out. She's rather impatient, too. I went to Kayla's store, Rare Gems. I told her my offer, and I explained the entire situation to her. Oh my gosh, I thought you were kidding. Anyway, what did Kayla say? Well, she said she'll think about it first. At least she didn't say no. I think she'll probably agree. She needs the money. I hope you're right. Let me know if she says anything to you, okay? Okay, I will. I didn't send another reply because if I do, there's no stopping Alexis, and we'll be texting the entire day. My mind wanders to Jamie. He must be in school right now. I wonder what are they learning about. I know he'll tell me everything when I see him this weekend. All of a sudden, my phone rings. I thought it's Alexis, trying to annoy me again. But when I look at the screen, it's from an unknown caller. I almost let it go directly to voicemail, as I usually don't entertain unsolicited calls. But there's something inside me that urged me to answer the call. I tapped the answer button. Hello? Hi. The female voice on the other line hesitates for a bit. Is this David Preston? The voice sounds familiar, but I can't put a face to it. Yes, speaking. Who is this? Hi, David. This is Kayla. Kayla Martin. My demeanor instantly changes and I become more relaxed. Oh, hi, Kayla. Sorry, I didn't recognize you at once. Do you need anything? I've been thinking about your proposition and I'd like to discuss it further with you if possible. Are you free today? She asks. Hold on a second. Very quickly, I check my calendar to see if I have any meetings today. Good thing my schedule's clear. Yes, I don't have anything scheduled this afternoon. What time would you like to meet? I can meet you at around 3 p.m. Is it okay if we meet somewhere near my shop? That way I can easily go back should there be a need. No problem. Just let me know the place and I'll be there. Okay. I guess I'll see you later. The call ends. I can hear in her voice that she's seriously considering my offer. I hope that whatever's holding her back, I'll be able to convince her later. I tell my assistant to block off my entire afternoon because I have an important meeting to go to, crossing my fingers for a favorable result. When I arrive at our meeting place, Kayla's already seated. I stare at her for a moment before going to her. She's staring outside the window while drinking what I think is orange juice. Her face is contemplative. I wonder what she's thinking about. Probably something about her money problem. She notices me as I approach and gives me a small smile. Sorry, I had a hard time looking for a parking spot. Have you been waiting long? She shakes her head. Not that long. Please sit down. I take the seat in front of her. The waiter comes over and I order a cafe mocha. So, what do you want to discuss? I ask her. Kayla takes a deep breath. Then she looks at me straight in the eye. I've thought about your proposal, and I agree to do it. Really? That's wonderful. She raises her hand and stops me mid-sentence. I agree, but we need to have a contract so that we'll know what to expect from each other. That's fair. We can draft it right now and have my lawyer finalize it. Then we can sign on it to make it binding. She nods her head. First, let's put that you agree to pay off my debt as part of the payment for my services to you. You said you'll also help me promote my business, right? That's correct, I say. I have a lot of connections that can help you boost and expand your business. I continue. Let's also put that a divorce can be filed once the case for Jamie's custody is finalized. No strings attached. There's no objection from Kayla, so I write it down. You'll have to move into my apartment as soon as possible. The case is already ongoing, and we need to move fast. She hesitates for a bit, but eventually agrees. Okay, but we'll be sleeping in separate rooms, she notes. Also, there should be no form of intimacy whatsoever, or sex. I don't want to add any complications to my life. I laugh at her statement, but I understand where she's coming from. I get it, but to be effective, we might need to show some affection to each other, especially when we're in public. Yeah, I'm okay with that as long as it's really necessary. I jot our agreements. I pass the draft to Kayla so that she can take a look at it. She reads it while I drink my coffee. This looks good. Great. I'll just send you the final copy once it's done so that you can sign it. We shake our hands as we close on our deal, then we part ways. I'm driving on my way back to the office, but my mind keeps on wandering back to Kayla and the way she looked earlier. I try to ignore the attraction that I feel and remind myself that I'm just doing this for Jamie. Everything is for Jamie.
Chapter 6. Kayla. The papers feel cold and heavy in my hands, but I agree with everything printed on them. I'm impressed with how David thought things through. I take a deep breath, realizing how unbelievable this whole thing is. I never imagined being in a fake marriage in this lifetime, but here I am. No thanks to my pain-in-the-butt ex-boyfriend. Everything really went downhill ever since he took advantage of me. I'm not sure if I should feel thankful for David's offer. I barely know him, and I'll have to call him my husband soon. It's unthinkable, but I really don't have any other choice now. As I'm about to sign the contract, The door to my store opens, and Alexis walks in. I haven't seen her since the time I told her about my problems. She's skipping toward me like a child, and I can't help but feel irked. "Kayla, my pretty Kayla," Alexis chimes, smiling from ear to ear. "It's so funny how you can love someone so much and hate them at the same time." "How is it going?" I hold the contract close to my chest, even though I've got a feeling Alexis already knows. I still feel a bit embarrassed by the fact that I'm getting married to her brother. I've known Alexis for so long, but I never thought I'd be someone other than a best friend to her. "We need to talk," I tell her sternly. "You have some explaining to do." Alexis grins and shrugs, but she calmly walks to the store's receiving area. I watch her as she places her expensive handbag on the table and bounces on the sofa. I can't believe she's my best friend. I bring the contract with me and quietly sit next to her. Some customers are talking to my staff, and as much as I want to initiate a catfight with Alexis, I can't make a scene here. Having my ex-boyfriend steal the company's money is scandalous enough. "Why did you tell your brother?" I clear my throat and force a smile. Alexis knows this expression so well. We cannot count how many times she has done stupid things before. "Oh, come on," Alexis giggles, obviously trying to calm me down. "I was just trying to help." "Just trying to help?" I say under my breath. "What does your brother care about my financial problems?" "Well," Alexis looks up at the ceiling with her thinking face on. "I didn't mean to gossip, but I just thought you could help each other." I sigh loudly, resting my head on my hand. David really is a big help, but I still can't fathom the idea of marrying him. It's a fake marriage, I know, but it's still a lot to take in. "You should thank me, Kay." Alexis looks at me with her glimmering eyes and pokes my arm. "Didn't you have a crush on David since forever?" "No, I did not," I quickly tell her, softly smacking her hand away from me. She giggles and claps her hands like a silly child. "Where do you get these dumb ideas?" "I'm pretty sure you had a huge crush on him." Alexis sighs as she grabs her phone from her bag. She really doesn't seem bothered about how annoyed I am. "Well, now you're marrying him, all thanks to me." Sometimes, I'm not sure how I'm able to tolerate Alexis and her quirks. She's my best friend, so I can't imagine my life without her. But being her best friend also means suffering through her carefree, infuriating, and playful attitude. Alexis has to give me an award for this. It's not easy being around her. She's kind, funny, and smart, but she can be the total opposite at times. Thinking about it now, I really did have a huge crush on David way back in college. I don't remember telling Alexis, though, but I will never forget how dreamy David was. My heart always fluttered whenever I saw him. His black wavy hair always got me. We barely talked, but I always felt like melting every time I got a glimpse of his green eyes. A lot of other girls indeed lost their minds over the handsome David Preston. Sure, he's gorgeous, and he could snatch any girl's heart anytime he wants, but he's also unbelievably arrogant. That was what always pushed me away. Not that I had the chance to get closer to him. Alexis and I are almost always together, but I've always been out of David's league. It's probably even impossible to believe that he'll marry me. "Kayla," Alexis calls to me, disrupting my thoughts. "Your phone is ringing." It takes a second for me to realize that there's a buzzing on my leg. I quickly grab my phone from my pocket, and my heart drops when I see David's name. I shakily swipe the screen to answer his call. "Hello?" I say, trying not to sound like a nervous woman talking to his longtime crush. "David?" I feel Alexis shift on her seat, gluing her eyes on me. Why is she enjoying this? "Kayla, how are you?" David's deep voice rings in my ears and I shiver. "I believe you've already read the contract?" "Yes," I answer, clutching on the contract that has been feeling weighty on my lap. "Thank you for sending it." "Have you, David stutters. Have you signed it? Hearing a hint of restlessness in David's voice is new. He's usually composed, and there's always finality in his words. Is he actually nervous that I might decline his offer? What am I thinking? Who am I to make David Preston nervous? I shake my thoughts off and then go through the pages of the contract again. As I see my signature in every corner, my heart races. I heave a little when I reach the last page. It's really happening. I'm Mrs. Kayla Preston now. Signed, sealed, and delivered. I managed to tell David jokingly. Yes, I've signed every page. David chuckles a little, and I feel butterflies in my stomach. Did I really make the arrogant David laugh? But he clears his throat right away, as though finding my joke funny was a mistake. That's good, he says with his deep voice. He's back to sounding serious. Are you available tomorrow? Yeah. Should I send this back to you myself? I think about my schedule and wonder if I could just hand the contract to Alexis. I don't really know how to face my husband yet. Have lunch with me, he says. My jaw drops, and my whole body freezes on my seat. My mind refuses to process whatever David has just said over the phone. I want you to meet Jamie, he adds. There it is, the finality in his tone. I'll send you the time and place. David hangs up before I can even mutter. Okay. I look at my phone, still in shock. I'm having lunch with him and his son tomorrow? How did it go, Mrs. Preston? Alexis teases me, eager to know about my conversation with his brother. I'm meeting him and Jamie tomorrow. Alexis squeals and claps her hands in excitement. She holds her phone again, telling me that she'll text David herself. She's cheering. What a lovely family. I stare at my signature on the last page of the contract. I think I've stopped breathing, and I wish I could muster the strength to tell Alexis to go and annoy somebody else. But here I am, on my seat in my jewelry shop, unable to move a muscle in disbelief. Somewhere inside me, beneath the fear and worry, I feel a spark.
Chapter 7. David. Is getting a ring over the top? Now that I think about it, buying an engagement ring was an impulsive decision. Kayla doesn't know about it, and we never talked about getting one. Still, I can't shake the feeling of this being right. It makes sense in the grand scheme of things. She's my fiancée, so naturally, a ring is a must. Will she like it, though? It's a simple gold ring with speckles of diamond I ordered online. I expect it wouldn't be up to her standards, given her line of work. Still, it would be nice if she liked it. Should I be embarrassed at how much I'm letting this affect me? It's just a ring. A prop. An extra layer of proof to support our sham engagement. My computer screen lights up with a new email, pulling me out of my musings. I close the lid of the velvet box and shove it in my pocket. Putting it aside for later, I open the email and send a quick reply. Jamie will be here soon, and I plan to introduce him to Kayla later at lunch. I should at least finish as much work as I can before leaving. Just then, the door flies open, and a cold chill runs down my spine. I struggle to keep my face neutral as Valerie barges in, sauntering toward my desk as if she owned the place. She takes a seat unprompted, crosses her legs and arms, and glares at me with accusing eyes like the wicked witch she is. Come in, take a seat. Make yourself comfortable by all means, I sneer. I may be used to her rudeness, but that doesn't mean I should tolerate it. She rolls her eyes and scoffs. You're lucky I even let Jamie near you. Yes, I reply in monotone. I'm grateful you allow me to see my own son. Where exactly is he? As if on cue, Jamie enters my office with his nanny, following close behind. He runs up to me and I rush out of my chair to meet him. Hey, Dad! He leaps into my arms and I readily catch him, spinning him around in a small circle. Did you miss me? He asks in between fits of giggles. I'm happy to know he's as cheerful as always. Of course I did, buddy. What did you do all week? Jamie starts gushing about the new toys and video games Valerie bought for him. I sit us down on the corner couch, his arms flying about as he explains about his fighter jet. I miss this. Jamie never fails to share his stories with me, even something as seemingly trivial as his toy plane. Nothing's unimportant when it comes to my son, and I can't let a custody battle take it away from me. My ex-wife had him for an entire week before today, and now it's my turn to spend time with him. My son will stay with me for the next 7 days, and I already have a bunch of activities planned. It's been a long time since I had Jamie to myself without Valerie's constant yapping. I'll make sure to make this Jamie's best week yet. I'm really excited for this week, Dad. Valerie interrupts before Jamie can say any more, annoyance clear on her face. It's hard to imagine a mother so against a father and son bonding. Yet here she is, angry at the fact that Jamie is happy to see me. I notice his nanny hiding a smile. Edith knows everything about our relationship with Jamie, and I'm pretty sure that if she'll be allowed to pick a side, she'd pick mine. Enjoy your time with Jamie while it lasts. I'll definitely win the custody battle, and there's a chance you won't ever see him again, she gloats, completely inconsiderate of our son's presence. Daddy? Jamie looks at me, understandably confused. I give him a pat on the head and gesture for Edith to take him outside. No child should hear whatever Valerie said. Sometimes I can't believe I was ever married to her. Did you want him to hear that? I accuse as soon as Jamie was out of earshot. You'll have no say in the matter soon, David. Please, I scoff. How are you capable of taking care of a child when you can't control your words around him? Shut up. You know I'm more capable of taking care of him than you'll ever be. Her smug face almost makes me want to flaunt Kayla's engagement ring in her face. Almost, I'm an adult. I can take the high road as the situation requires. Now isn't the right time to reveal anything about my engagement. I won't give my ex-wife any chance to sabotage my strategy. I have the upper hand as long as I keep Kayla my trump card. Just so you know, I'm confident about my case too, I tell her calmly instead. I won't let you have Jamie. I won't have my son grow up to be a scheming, greedy liar like you. Hurtful words, she mocks, checking her nails instead of addressing me properly. Too bad. It doesn't affect me. Nor will it help you in winning the custody battle. Face it, David. This week could be your last days with your son. I don't deign to answer her obvious goading. I fought with her more times than I can handle. My only goal is to acquire full custody of Jamie in the most peaceful way possible, even though that means taking an underhanded approach. Valerie gets up from her seat when she realizes I'm done with the conversation. Have fun with your son, she says as she reaches the door. Try not to overwork yourself. I know that's all you ever do. And she's gone. Damn, that woman can really get under my skin. Every time I see her, my resolve to keep Jamie strengthens tenfold. Now, more than anything, I know I have to play all my cards right. Jamie and Edith come in soon after Valerie leaves. I put on my best smile for my son. Are you ready to have lunch? Yep, I'm hungry. Good. We can meet my friend at the restaurant. I can only hope Kayla plays her part right.
I hope you're enjoying this audiobook by Vic Savon. If you want to keep hearing more audiobooks, then please hit that subscribe button and like the video. It may seem insignificant, but the more people that subscribe, the easier it is to produce more audiobooks in the future. So please, help us out and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for listening, and now back to your book.
Chapter 8. Kayla. Waiters and waitresses walk in and out of the kitchen, carrying trays or table napkins. This restaurant, which is not too far from my shop, is quite busy. I've never been here before. I hope I look decent enough in my knee-length lavender dress and white flats. I'm thanking the heavens for a good hair day. I also chose a nude shade for my lipstick, though I'm not really sure if it matches my outfit. I breathe in and out to calm myself down. Honestly, what's making me nervous is meeting Jamie. I don't really have much experience with kids, and I'm scared that Jamie might not like me. I'll be his fake stepmother, and I need to have a good relationship with him so that David will win custody. I've never been a wife before. How much more a mother? Relax, Kayla, I whisper to myself. Just as I grab my phone to check my messages, David enters the restaurant with a charming little boy holding his hand. I stand up as they walk toward me. David is smiling softly. I look at Jamie and notice that he has his father's eyes. He also has black wavy hair, which makes him look like a tiny David. Jamie looks so adorable that I can't stop myself from smiling. He stares at me in confusion, and David sits down to look at him eye to eye. David clears his throat and chimes, "Jamie, this is Kayla. She's my fiancée." I hold my hand out to Jamie, and he gently shakes it. His hands feel so tiny in mine. "Hi, Jamie." "Hi," he says, barely opening his mouth. He seems shy, and I don't want to push him. "She's moving into our apartment soon," David adds, moving closer to me until he's touching my back. I shiver a little, but I remind myself that I'm his soon-to-be wife. "What do you think?" Suddenly, Jamie's eyes widen, and he lets go of David's hand. He clutches my dress and smiles. "You're living with us?" "Yes," I cheer, brushing my thumb against his cheek. He's so pure and innocent that I feel my heart could burst any time. "Is that okay?" "Sure," Jamie squeals, and then he gives me a tiny hug with his short arms. "You can sleep in my room. We can read bedtime stories all day, and then maybe play with my toys sometimes." David chuckles and carries Jamie to his seat. I'm surprised at how he suddenly got excited. Still, his energy is so contagious that I want to move in with them right away. David sits between us and quietly introduces Edith. I shake Edith's hand, and then she sits beside Jamie. Something about her feels warm. "When are you moving in with us?" Jamie fights for my attention. "And when are you getting married? Can I be the ring bearer?" Edith shakes her head and laughs. I lean in closer to Jamie and chime, "Of course. You'll be the most handsome ring bearer in the world." I wonder if Jamie is not affected by his parents' divorce. It seems so easy for him to talk about David and me getting married. My heart breaks when I think of his pain. I have no idea how Valerie is as a mother, but I hope I can be a good one to Jamie. I'll do anything to help David keep him. He deserves all the love and kindness he can get. A waiter serves Philly cheesesteak on our table, and Jamie immediately asks where the ice cream is. I tell him I love ice cream too, and he tells David to order some. More dishes are served, including pasta and salads. "Let's eat first, okay?" David tells Jamie. Edith quickly prepares Jamie's plate, and they negotiate with each other about the vegetables. I watch them as they laugh together. "Help yourself," David mutters. It feels like he's trying to sound like a fiancé, but he just doesn't know how to act yet. "Let me know if you want anything else." It's funny to see David not knowing what to do. I always thought he was a know-it-all. I chuckle and continue eating my meal. "What?" David asks, wiping his mouth with a napkin. "What's so funny?" "Nothing," I giggle. "I just think you look cute." I feel my face get hot the moment I blurted the words. Did I just call David cute? This is so embarrassing. I drink a glass of water just to do something. My heart is racing and I can feel David's eyes on me. Please say something. David smiles and grazes his thumb on my lips. I freeze, and then I'm lost in his green eyes. He whispers, "And you are enchanting, my dear." He leans in and kisses me. His bow-shaped lips touch mine softly, and I can't help but close my eyes. "Dad!" Jamie screams, and David and I jolt. "I can see you." David pulls away and looks at me for a second before he turns to Jamie. He laughs and says, "Sorry, kiddo." I can't take my eyes off David. My body is shivering, but I feel like I'm floating. I giggle as I look at Jamie, covering his eyes with his small hands. Get a grip, Kayla. The four of us enjoy our ice creams after lunch. Jamie tells me about watching cartoons with his dad, and I can tell how much he wants his time with him. Listening to Jamie is fascinating, but I can't stop thinking about the kiss. It was our first, and I can't ask David about it because it's part of our agreement. I walk out of the restaurant with my hand around David's arm. I had a huge crush on him in college, and now I'm walking beside him like I've known him all my life. My college self should be freaking out right now. Jamie, get in the car with Edith, David says. Kayla and I have something to talk about. Okay, Jamie cheers. He turns to me and waves his hand. I'll see you at home. I watch Jamie as he skips to the car with Edith. For a moment, I forget about the kiss and think about how I instantly fall in love with David's child. I think that went well, he says sternly. He grabs something from his pocket and then hands me a ring box. Take this. It's a gold ring with tiny diamonds glimmer inside the box. I gasp. Is this necessary? We agreed on this, David points out, looking over at his car to see if Jamie is watching. It'll help convince people. Right. It's part of the agreement, just like that kiss. I really should stop getting surprised by these things, as though I had no idea at all. Also, will you be my date? David asks. We have this company party, and I'd like you to meet my coworkers. I guess I need to meet almost everyone in David's life to make this work. I'm not a big fan of parties, but I just can't say no. I get flustered again at the thought of being his date. I'll let you know when and where. David moves closer to me, and then he plants a kiss on my cheek. Don't forget to wear the ring. Once again, I'm frozen and breathless. I watch David as he jogs to his car. Why does he always have to catch me off guard? I know these are all in the contract, but I still find David dreamy, even if he's arrogant and somewhat cocky. The way he touches me is electrifying. It's insane, but I think I'm starting to feel like I want more. You shouldn't, Kayla. I remind myself. I know you want more, but you shouldn't.
Chapter 9. David. I knock on Kayla's apartment door, surprised by the feeling of nervousness that's sitting in my belly. I haven't been able to get our kiss out of my head, as brief as it had been. The surprised look on her face flashes in my mind, and all I can think about is kissing her again, just to see if her cheeks will turn pink as they did before. Shaking my head, I remind myself for the nth time that this is just a simple business arrangement with my younger sister's best friend. After having built my VC firm from the ground up, I've experienced enough to know that thoughts of kissing have no place in a business arrangement, no matter how tempting the other party might be. Though if I'm going to be completely honest, I've been thinking about doing a lot more than just kissing her. Kayla opens the door. All thoughts of keeping things platonic between us evaporate into thin air when I see her. I let my eyes travel over her body, taking in her soft chestnut waves, the strapless ivory cocktail dress that's snug on her svelte body, and her sexy as hell high-heeled silver pumps. She gives me a shy smile and invites me inside. As I walk past her, I catch a whiff of her sweet vanilla and honey scent, and my mouth waters. God, I'm so screwed. Wow, my voice comes out hoarse. You look amazing. Thanks, I hope this isn't too much. She smooths her hands over the curve of her hip. Not at all. If you looked any better, I might require medical attention. I clear my throat and try to focus on something that isn't her delectable body. After she grabs her purse, we head down to my car and make our way downtown. It isn't long before we pull up to a nondescript building in Soho, and I hand over my keys to the valet before escorting Kayla inside. This is a company party, so it'll be mostly my employees and their plus ones, I say after we step into the elevator. I'll introduce you to them as my fiancée. She lifts one shoulder, looking confident. Of course, that's what I'm here for. We step out onto the rooftop, which had been decorated with hanging lanterns and cocktail tables. Upbeat music plays on the speakers, and the vibe is lively without being too rowdy. A group of revelers, some people on my management team, see us walk in and I wave them over. Keeping my hand on Kayla's lower back, I make the introductions. Her closeness is distracting. I inhale deeply, only to find her perfume in the air. Her scent wraps around me, surrounding me in vanilla and honey. Is this what her skin tastes like? My finance director, John McLean, jokingly wraps my shoulder, pulling my mind away from thoughts of Kayla's skin. I can't believe you've been keeping your engagement under wraps. I meet Kayla's gaze, and I notice her amused look. You know me, John. I tend to be more secretive than most people, I say. There's nothing wrong with that. Alice, my assistant, gives Kayla a friendly smile. Everyone's got the right to have a private life, don't you think? Kayla nods in agreement before turning to chat with my HR manager, Rebecca. The light from the hanging lanterns shines on Kayla's animated face, and I notice her necklace for the first time. It circles her slender throat like silver vines dotted with sparkling gemstones. Her matching earrings dangle playfully from her ears, the ends nearly brushing her bare shoulders. Before I realize what I'm doing, my hand comes up to touch one dangling earring. Kayla turns to me in surprise, then blushes when my finger grazes her neck. Your necklace and earrings are beautiful, Alice says, openly admiring their unusual design. I've never seen anything like them. Oh, these... She lifts a hand to her necklace, lightly tracing it with her fingers. I designed them myself. Kayla's a jewelry designer. A very good one, as you can see, I say proudly. She has a shop downtown called Rare Gems. I rest my hand on her bare upper back and stroke her soft skin with my thumb. I tell myself that I'm doing it for the benefit of our audience, but in truth I seem to be having a difficult time keeping my hands off her, and the telltale tremor that goes through Kayla's body tells me that she might have a similar reaction to mine. I almost can't believe you're the same serious David Preston we've all known and loved. John gives me a teasing smirk. Looks like Cupid really did a number on you, boss. Cupid had nothing to do with it, I joke, dropping a kiss on Kayla's reddened cheek. All I had to do was take one look at this woman, and I was a goner. A spark of mischief lights up Kayla's eyes, and I know she's enjoying our banter. So, you're admitting it was love at first sight? Absolutely, I say, ignoring the laughs and hoots coming from our companions. From the day we met, I fell for you hook, line, and sinker. After spending a few more moments chatting with the group, I lead Kayla to the bar for a drink. As we both have some wine, more people approach us, and she gamely chats with them all, her vibrant personality fully on display. I find myself completely entranced by her, and I don't even notice that several hours had already passed. When I realize that most of the other employees had already left, we say our goodbyes and head back down to my car. I think that went well, I say as we drive back to her apartment. The city is still alive even at this late hour. I notice her looking out the window wistfully. I agree. She looks at me with a curious expression. Though you probably went a little overboard with all that love at first sight stuff. Why do you think that? I pull up in front of her building, which fortunately has a small driveway. Isn't it possible that I took one look at you and instantly fell head over heels? She laughs softly and her gaze drops to my mouth before she quickly looks away. My body instantly hardens and I feel my control slipping. When was the last time I wanted a woman so much? As she turns to take off her seatbelt, her hand brushes against one of her earrings and it falls by her feet. We both lean forward at the same time to try and catch it, and I find myself nearly nose to nose with her. Her startled gaze meets mine, and all I can hear is the sound of our combined breaths. Time slows down, and my gaze drifts down to her full mouth. Her tongue darts out to lick her bottom lip, and the sight of her glistening lips is too tempting for me to resist. I press my lips against hers. At first, her mouth stiffens in surprise. Then a heartbeat later, She softens against me, a sexy whimper bubbling in her throat. More. I kiss her harder, cupping her cheeks so that I can sweep my tongue over her lips and into her sweet mouth. I don't know how long we kissed, but she pulls back slowly, her eyes blazing with desire. "Do you want to come inside?" she asks, her voice a whisper in the darkness. I pull her back for another deep kiss before responding, "Yes."
Chapter 10. Kayla. David devours me, and I willingly offer myself. He doesn't even wait until we get into my bedroom. The moment I open the door to my place, he immediately grabs my waist and kisses me. We flirted all night at the party, and I couldn't stop myself from inviting him over. I don't regret it, especially now that I can feel his body all over me. A big part of me waited for this moment for a long time. I hate to burst your bubble when things are just getting started, but this platform won't allow us to air the steamy content coming up in this chapter. If you want us to keep bringing you free audiobooks, we have to abide by their rules. Luckily for you, the unabridged version of every Vic Savon audiobook is available at vicsavonromance.com. And with promo code VIXA40, you can get 40% off any digital product. Let's get back to the story. "Hey," he mumbles. He turns to me and I melt in his green eyes once more. I wish he'd lie down with me and ask me to rest in his arms until sunlight. David continues, "I have to go. Jamie must be waiting for me." My heart drops to my stomach. I feel a sharp pang on my chest and I freeze. Suddenly, all the pleasure and happiness are replaced with pain and sorrow. I feel even more naked, and the urge to cover up becomes strong. I'm ashamed that he can see my skin when he doesn't want to do anything with me. I quietly stand up and cover myself with the clothes we left on the floor. "I'm sorry," I say, fighting my tears and the quivering of my voice. "I shouldn't let him know. I didn't mean to take so much of your time." I watch David get dressed again, and when he's done, he turns to me. He takes a step closer and holds his hand out to touch my face, but at the last second, he hesitates. "You should get sleep," he mutters, putting his hands inside his pockets instead. "I'll go ahead." Where is the David who grabbed every inch of me? The David who couldn't get enough of me? The man standing in front of me is a complete stranger. "Drive safe," I chime, smiling as though I'm not dying inside. "Tell Jamie I said hi." David walks out of the door, and I jolt at the sound of the knob clicking. He really left like nothing happened. The silence is deafening. I place my hand on my chest just to feel that my heart is still beating. I finally let my tears fall, and I sob. "See, Kayla, I told you not to want more." Chapter 11. Kayla. I'm idly moving around the store, checking every jewelry that we have for the 4th time. Inside my head, I keep on thinking about what happened last night and the disappointment I felt when David left. I understand that Jamie's his top priority, but still, something about it makes me iffy. I may already have feelings for David, and the thought itself makes my heart beat so quickly, I think it'd burst out of my ribcage. The sad thing is, he may not feel the same way as I do. Maybe he likes me, but only because he's physically attracted to me and nothing more. My phone suddenly rings from the cashier counter, startling me. I almost drop the necklace I'm holding. I dash to fetch my phone, and my heart beats faster the moment I see David's name flash on the screen. "Hey," David says over the phone. I just clear my throat, not knowing what to say. "I'm just checking up on you, Kayla. How's everything going?" I fidget, not knowing how to answer his question. Do I tell the truth even though I may get disappointed again? Or do I just lie and expect that he'll drop the call after hearing what he wants me to say? "It's fine," I say. Everything's fine. That's good to hear. For the next few seconds, none of us utter a word. Just as I'm about to say I'd hang up, he clears his throat. Actually, I called because I want to ask you out for lunch. Are you, by any chance, available? I bite my lower lip, tempted to say yes, but at the same time, I feel like I shouldn't. Seeing him often will only make me further develop my feelings for him. I can't say I want that. Besides, I already don't know how to deal with what I'm feeling right now. Sorry, David. I can't. I'm quite busy today. I hear David sigh from the other end. He tells me it's all right before hanging up. I look at my phone and purse my lips, dubious if I've made the right decision. All of a sudden, the door bursts open. A woman enters. She doesn't bother looking at me and straightly goes to where the rings and necklaces are. I just stay behind the cashier counter. I think she's the type of customer who doesn't want to be bothered while browsing. A few minutes have passed, and she goes to me. Hi. The woman greets me as she lowers her sunglasses. She then points at the several necklaces she's going to buy. I pull them out from the display. Would these be all? Yes, she answers. But the weird thing is how she looks at me as if she's scrutinizing my face. Or is it just my imagination? I'm not really sure. As I put each piece of jewelry in their appropriate boxes, the woman clears her throat, making me look at her. That's a gorgeous ring you have there. She points to my ring. Thank you, I say, trying to end the conversation, because I don't want to further talk about it. When I think about this whole fake relationship with David, I can't help but feel stressed. My mind just won't stop itself from overthinking. Sometimes, I feel like my brain has a will of its own, and it's frustrating. What's it for? Promise ring? Wedding ring? Her nosiness makes me iffy, but I try my best to stay calm. No, actually, it's an engagement ring. Congratulations. So who's the lucky guy? He's my best friend's brother, and I'm really lucky to have him in my life. I didn't tell David's name because that's his privacy. Besides, I don't even know this woman. There's something about her that I find strange, but I can't exactly point what is it. This would be $100. Before I can even ask her if she'll pay in cash or credit card, she's already given me her card. As what I always tend to do when someone's paying using a credit card, I read her name out loud. Miss Valerie Peterson, that's a total of $100. Thank you so much. Just after the customer leaves, my phone rings again with David's name flashing on it. As usual, my heart beats fast. I take a deep breath before answering the call. Hey, David. My hands feel clammy. I don't want to get hurt, but this fake marriage would help me big time. I don't think I'll be able to get over my problems without this marriage. Hey, I just called to inform you that you'll have to move into my apartment soon. Okay, I'll just have to prepare some stuff. I'll probably move in by the end of the week. With that, both of us say bye, and he drops the call.
Chapter 12. David. I arrive at our meetup place a full 30 minutes early. For the first time, I asked Kayla out on an actual date, not for public display, and given her interest in jewelry design, I arranged for a private viewing of the Cartier jewelry exhibition at the Museum of Design. I had to pull a few strings to get the invitation. The exhibition opens to the public in a week, but I'm lucky Rebecca got me in touch with one of the curators, so Kayla and I can enjoy the collection with fewer people around. I wipe my hands on my pants as they start to get clammy. I'm getting nervous about this date even though I'm certain she's going to enjoy herself. It's pretty pathetic how much Kayla affects me, which only amplified since she moved into my apartment a few days ago. So far, we've maintained our distance and kept our physical interactions to a minimum. Fleeting touches and kisses on the cheek for Jamie to see. But God, what I'd give to touch her more. Seeing her every day is both a blessing and a curse. Her gorgeous face brings a fresh start to my mornings, and relieves me of stress every night. It's frustrating how I can't do anything more than look. It takes all my willpower to stop my fingers from lingering every time we put on a show for Jamie and Edith. I don't know how much longer I can keep it in my pants, especially not when the night we slept together keeps replaying in my head. Her smooth skin, the taste of her lips, and God, the sound she made. I want to experience it all over again. I say all that, but deep down I know it isn't just physical attraction. My feelings for her have undeniably gotten deeper over the past few days, and it's one of the reasons why I keep my distance. I'm not sure how she feels about me. That, and because I ran away from her that night. I regret doing that. It was a total jerk move. I should have called her to apologize, but I'm afraid of bringing it up. I don't want her to think I slept with her for fun. Maybe that's her reason for keeping her distance from me, too. My wandering thoughts keep me company until Kayla arrives. I swear to God, I've never met anyone as beautiful as her. She makes a simple light blue dress look elegant as it falls, just below her knees, coupled with similar colored heels. Her choice of jewelry is impeccable, as always. "You look lovely," I tell her as I offer my arm. It's hard to think we've known each other since college. She's always been pretty, I know. But she's grown up to be a woman who takes my breath away every time I see her. "Thanks. I wasn't sure what to wear to a private viewing," she replies quietly, uneasiness lacing her tone even as she tries to be friendly. We walk inside the exhibit arm in arm, and I stop attempting to start a conversation. Kayla gasps as soon as we step inside. Rows upon rows of glass cases are laid out across the vast gallery, the dimmed lights and dark walls allowing the jewels to glow from their cases. Even the walls are decorated with, perhaps, less valuable ornaments, but are still framed for display. We walk slowly as Kayla admires each one, taking in the information and factoids that come with each piece. She's aloof, but I let her be. I understand her inhibitions toward me, and I respect that. As we stroll through the exhibit, though, I notice her loosen up. There's a sparkle in her eyes that I've never seen before, and I find myself more entranced by her than the jewelry around us. "Thank you for this, David," she says after a while. She holds on to me tighter as she looks up at me, smiling softly. "This exhibit is incredible, and I never would have seen it if it wasn't for you." "It's not a big deal." I shrug, giving her a playful smirk. "All I did was make a call." She giggles and turns her attention to a necklace of pure gold. "Still, I appreciate it. Most people see jewelry as mere pretty accessories, but it's not that simple. Jewelry to me is so much more than a business." I listen quietly to her sentiments as we continue to look around, and I can't help but feel proud that she's sharing something so personal to me. "Did you know that jewelry is the world's oldest art form?" I shake my head, though I know it was a rhetorical question. "There's a history behind each piece and a reason why a certain design came to exist." Kayla smiles shyly. "In a way, I want my creations to tell a story, too." "I think that's wonderful," I say. Somehow, all the tension between us seems to melt away. Taking her to this exhibit is the best decision I made in regards to our relationship. We exit the gallery in high spirits, and my pride soars even more after seeing the satisfied smile on her face. We head for my car, but I stop in my tracks as I catch a glimpse of someone watching us. I snap my head in their direction, but find nothing. Did I just imagine it? Looking around the area, I pay attention to anyone who might look suspicious, but nothing seems out of the ordinary. "What's wrong?" Kayla asks, standing a few steps ahead of me. I catch up to her and take one last look around before replying. "Nothing, I just thought I saw something." Then a thought pops into my head. "Do you want to get some ice cream?" Her worried face transforms into joy. I'd love that. She practically skips to the car and I hold back a laugh. It's a good thing I remembered Alexis mentioning Kayla's love for ice cream. Now that I think about it, she said the same thing to Jamie when we had lunch together. I take her to the nearest gelato place and marvel at the order she placed. 4 flavors in 1 cup? I didn't know they allowed that. Hey, don't judge. She pouts adorably, and the urge to kiss her slams me. I'm not judging. It's cute. She blushes and proceeds to explain how each flavor is equally fulfilling and why she can't choose only one. Here I am, listening to a grown woman talk about gelato, yet my feelings for her grow with every passing minute.
Chapter 13. Kayla. Hey there, little guy. I greet Jamie with a smile, and he lights up when he sees me. Are you busy? Jamie gets on his feet and jumps on his bed. He raises his hands, flinging his toys in the air. Nope, I'm just playing. I have an idea. I chime as I lean on the door of his room, crossing my arms. What do you say we make dinner together? Let's go, Jamie cheers, dropping his toys and jumping onto the floor. He skips past me and out of his room, yelling, "Here comes Chef Jamie." I always wonder how Jamie never runs out of energy. I giggle as I watch him dash to the kitchen, and then I go after him. Jamie grabs his tiny blue apron. He tries to tie it around his waist first, but then asks me to help him. He insists that I should wear my apron as well. After we're set, I ask him what he wants to eat. Can I have ice cream? He asks sincerely, looking at me with his adorable puppy eyes. That's not dinner, silly, I tell him. I rummage through the refrigerator. And I don't know how to cook ice cream. What are you going to have then? Jamie asks, climbing up the stool to reach the counter. Can I have what you're having? I grab some fettuccine pasta and place them in a bowl. I check the available ingredients and set them on the counter. Maybe I'll have some carbonara, I say. Oh, I know what I want, Jamie exclaims while helping me arrange the condiments. I want chicken nuggets. All right, I answer as I go back to the fridge to grab a pack. Do you know how to cook these? Jamie shakes his head. I tell him we have to wait since the pack is still frozen, and he pouts. How long? Not too long, darling. I chime and poke his nose. Let's do the carbonara first. Jamie watches carefully as I show him how to beat eggs. He takes the whisk from me, saying he wants to try it himself. He splashes some egg yolks on his clothes, and we laugh. Jamie is such a sweet kid, and teaching him things makes me happy. Even if he's getting a bit messy, I tell him he's doing a good job. Can I chop the garlic? I hold the knife away from him and shake my head. Sorry, mister. Why don't you grate the cheese instead? Jamie chuckles as he drops cheese all over the kitchen floor. We poke fun at each other and joke about starving all night. Just as I finish chopping the bacon strips, David walks in. What are you guys doing? He asks, looking at the mess we're making. Dad, Jamie screams and runs to hug him. We're making dinner. Really? David walks toward me and kisses my cheek. That's good because I'm famished. I try not to get flustered. I don't think I will ever get used to David treating me like a real wife. Great. Help us cook then, I say. Let's cook my chicken nuggets, Dad. Jamie grabs David's hand and gives him the pack of chicken nuggets. But wear your apron first. David rolls his sleeves and carries Jamie up to the counter. They banter and laugh, and I watch them as I continue with the pasta. Be careful, you two. David holds Jamie's hand, guiding him in flipping the nuggets. His other arm is touching Jamie's back, ready to catch him in case he falls. He gently tells Jamie what to do, and then he kisses his cheek. My heart flutters. I could watch these two boys have fun together all day. I would choose to keep this moment over anything. David is such a good father. I can tell how much Jamie looks up to him and how he always looks forward to spending time together. Right now, I feel like I'm looking at my husband and son. Jamie shows me a nugget, and he calls himself Chef Jamie again, making David chuckle. I wish I could stay in this moment forever. But I'm not Jamie's mother, and David is only here for the contract. I smile weakly to myself. It's fine. At least I have this now. My phone suddenly rings. and I jolt. I run to the table and see an unlisted number on my screen. I answer the call. "Kayla Martin?" the caller asks. "Speaking," I say, not recognizing the voice. "Who is this?" I wait for an answer, but the caller hangs up. I look at my phone again and send a message. "Is everything all right?" David asks when I walk back into the kitchen. "Yeah," I tell him. It must be a client. Calls from unknown contacts aren't new to me. I have a couple of clients, and they usually inquire about jewelry. That one must have lost connection or something. "Dinner time," Jamie rejoices, carrying his plate of chicken nuggets to the dining table. He climbs up his chair and calls us to hurry up. I get the bowl of carbonara, and just as I'm about to head to the dining area, David's head pops from the counter. I think I know what goes well with pasta. David holds up a bottle of wine and smirks. I gulp and imagine the taste of wine in my mouth. I could really use a glass or two. I sit with Jamie, and David follows. Jamie shows his perfectly cooked chicken nuggets, so I clap my hands for him. David praises him, and then he steals a piece. "Hey, that's mine!" Jamie screams. We laugh again, and he places a piece on my plate. He thanks me for letting him help in the kitchen. "What about me?" David asks, furrowing his eyebrows and pouting. "I want a chicken nugget too." "You already stole one, Dad," Jamie giggles. He starts munching his dinner, and I enjoy mine as well. I look at David as he takes his first bite. "How is it?" I ask nervously. "What if I put too much cheese? What if it needs more salt?" "Delicious," David answers, wiping his mouth with a napkin. I let out a sigh of relief, and Jamie gives me 2 thumbs up. David pours me some wine, and we clink our glasses. The first sip always hits different. I close my eyes, savoring the taste in my mouth. "What about me?" Jamie asks, crossing his arms furiously. "Sorry, buddy," David snickers, pouring orange juice on his glass instead. "Wine isn't for kids." I laugh at how Jamie looks so much like his father. He even tells the same jokes and does some things that David does. I tell the two of them that they're silly, and Jamie raises his glass. Cheers. Sometimes I can't handle how much I love these two. Sometimes it hurts so bad, but I always make the most of my time with them. Even just for tonight, let us be a family.
Chapter 14. David. Good night, little man. I kiss Jamie's forehead and make sure he's asleep before leaving his room. I come back out to the dining room where Kayla might be staying. Sure enough, there she is, gorgeous as ever as she finishes a glass of wine. She's enchanting. I can never get tired of her beauty. I've seen her fully made up and glamorous, but sitting at the dining table in jeans and a cardigan with hair tied messily into a bun, well, it hits differently. I like both versions, but domestic Kayla is what I'd love to see every day. "Hi," I call as I walk closer to her. She's startled but calms down when she sees me. "Hi. Lost in thoughts?" I ask as I open another bottle of wine and bring it to the table. Sitting beside her, she turns to face me with a soft expression. Just feeling nostalgic, I guess. I refill her glass as she continues. "I've known you since college, but I never thought we'd ever end up like this." Our conversation leads to reminiscing our college days, and I revel in the way I can make her happy with one of my embarrassing stories. That smile. God, I'm screwed. I might have been married once, but this isn't the same. This is what it feels to fall in love. Damn, this is the real deal. But I'm ready to tell her. Am I ready to take the risk? Oh my gosh. I can't believe I had a crush on you back then. I raise an eyebrow. I didn't know that. Her mouth hangs open, cheeks blooming into an adorable blush. "Well, I was young," she squeaks, and I chuckle at her response. "Don't worry about it," I say coolly as I decide to tease her. "I can't blame you. I'm good-looking and intelligent, Plus, I'm your best friend's brother. I was like a forbidden fruit to you." "What the hell?" she giggles. "It wasn't like that." "No, don't be embarrassed. You couldn't resist my charms. I get it. I'm irresistible." She laughs and hits my arm lightly. "Oh, stop." I'm mesmerized. My arm moves on its own, and I catch her wrist when she takes it back. I rub circles on her wrist and vaguely notice her pulse quickening. Her laughter dies down as our gazes lock. Time seems to stop, and a part of me actually wants that to happen. These past few days with Kayla were the best I've had since my divorce. She reminds me of how it feels to be happy, something I forgot at some point in my life. Stray strands of hair fall onto her face, and without thinking, I tuck them behind her ear. I don't miss her quiet gasp. My eyes get drawn to her lips, and I stare unabashedly until she clears her throat. Her cheeks are pink. I'm not sure if it's because she's drunk or because of our proximity. What I do know is that I want to kiss her. So I do.
Chapter 15. Kayla. Sunlight peeks through the window. I open my eyes and realize that I'm completely naked in David's bed. I turn to the other side, nervous that David might see me looking like a mess. But he's not here. I'm relieved, but my heart breaks a little. It would be nice to wake up next to David, or maybe wake up in his arms. Last night we made love again. It felt so good and wild. I feel butterflies in my stomach as I remember how it feels to have David inside me. The way he held me last night felt like he wanted all of me, body and soul. But I don't know if it was just the wine that made him do it. For me, I can't deny my feelings anymore. What if it doesn't mean anything to David? If I ask him and he says it was just the wine, what would I say? I keep telling myself that I should step back and protect my heart. But here I am again, naked and spent in his bed. I never learn. I sit up and yawn before stretching to wake myself up. I look outside the window and think it's going to be a good day, like some big news is coming my way. I get out of bed and put on my nightgown and robe. I wonder if David already left for work. I wish he left me even just a note to let me know. What am I thinking? I'm just a fake fiancé, and he doesn't have to do these things. Know your place, Kayla? I quietly get out of the room. The moment I open the door, I smell the strong aroma of coffee. I can hear David in the kitchen, and my heart skips a bit. It can't be helped. Before I walk to the kitchen to see him, I check Jamie's room. I put his blanket over him and hear him snore. I brush his hair a bit and kiss him on his cheek. David carefully pours coffee into his mug. I take a deep breath before muttering, "Good morning." "Oh, you're awake?" David turns. He sounds and looks serious. "Want some coffee?" "Yes, please," I say. I take a seat in the dining area and watch David pour another cup. Is he angry? David walks to me and places my cup on the table. He grabs the coffee maker from the kitchen and comes back. All the while, he's quiet and indifferent. I take a sip and sneak a peek of him. He's looking outside the window, not even glancing at me for a second. It's as if I'm not here at all. His thumb brushes against the porcelain mug. He looks stiff, as though he's on guard. The silence is killing me. "David," I mumble. "About last night." He finally looks at me, but he doesn't say a word. He's waiting for me to finish talking, but I honestly don't know what to say anymore. Should I apologize or ask him what it meant? I whisper, instantly regretting that I brought it up, but it feels awkward that we're acting like nothing happened, and I need to do something about it. David shifts on his seat and his shoulders relax a bit. He smirks for a split second and looks away again. "Don't worry about it." I feel my face getting hot, and I wish I'm not blushing. I think about how turned on I was, and now I'm embarrassed. Why does David treat me differently after making love? "We're both adults," he adds, holding the cup to his mouth. He slowly takes a sip, still avoiding my eyes. And it was with consent. That's it. After kissing every inch of me and grabbing my flesh like a hungry animal, he only thinks about consent. It's not just some activity, for heaven's sake. I'm sure there were emotions in our every touch. Every moan was a cry of desire. David wanted me as much as I wanted him. What does he mean by adults and consent? It didn't matter to me last night when I held on to him for strength as he thrust in me. I was vulnerable and honest. I'm talking to a different David again, just like last time. Maybe he's really only after my body. It's just unbelievable because the way he treats me in bed is magical. Right, David says before glancing at the clock hanging on the wall. Our engagement will be in today's paper. I tremble at how casually he's talking about things. He said, our engagement like it's business, and I'm getting more convinced that it's nothing more than that, at least to him. That's great, I tell him, trying to sound indifferent as well. I shouldn't show any pain because he's not. It will finally be out there. David looks at me and holds my gaze for a moment. Suddenly, the look in his eyes changes. I see the longing and regret, like he wants me to take back what I just said. I'm dazed and confused, and I'm at a loss for words. What does he really want? Is there something he's not telling me? You're right. He looks away and gulps his warm coffee. Finally. I can't tell if he's sarcastic or not. I can't get through his walls, and there's nothing to read in his face anymore. We're silent again, and I don't dare to break it this time. David clears his throat and pours more coffee. Anyway, I'll be out until late at night. Please tell Jamie not to wait. I will, I answer him. I finish my coffee and bring my cup to the kitchen. You should go now, or you'll be late. I don't mean to sound like a wife, but maybe I do. I'm not even trying. It seems like caring for David has become a part of me. He stands next to me and places his cup by the sink. He's so close and yet so far. I wish I could freely hold him in my arms. I'll get ready now, he mutters. I listen to his footsteps as he walks to his room. I'm caught in between overthinking and seeing things the way they are. I'm tired of reading between the lines. Maybe there's nothing to read in the first place. Perhaps it's just me. I thought today was going to be good. But at least I got the big news right. I drink a glass of water and start thinking about work. I have to be stronger than my thoughts and focus on my store again. If not, I'll lose everything I love, and unfortunately, that includes David. Chapter 16. Kayla. Bent over my work desk, I add a few more details to my sketch before leaning back to study my drawing. An old client had requested a matching necklace and bracelet set for his wife to commemorate their 50th wedding anniversary, and I've been working hard all week to ensure the design meets his standards. It isn't often that a couple can stay happily married for 50 years, so I want to present him with a design that shows just how special and remarkable that milestone is. My phone rings, interrupting my thoughts. Looking at my watch, I realize that it's nearly time to call it a day. I pick up my phone and hear Alexis's voice on the other end. Hey, lady. Her voice is cheerful, and I can hear the unique sounds of the New York City streets in the background. Are you up for drinks after work? Sure, I'm just finishing up here. I gingerly stretch my neck, which had grown stiff from bending over my work for most of the afternoon. You want to meet at the store? That works, she says. We can check out that new tapas bar I was telling you about yesterday. I laugh. The one with the hot bartender? You know me too well, Kayla. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, I reply before saying goodbye and hanging up. I glance at the time and stretch my arms, loosening up my tight shoulders. Just a few more details and this design will be finished. Since my client asked me to use rubies, which are his wife's favorite, I designed an intricate heart-shaped locket covered in these red gems with a hidden nook inside for 2 small photographs. I plan on suggesting to my client to place photos of their children and grandchildren inside as a testament to the love they've shared for the last 50 years. I wonder what it takes to remain in love with another person for that long. David's handsome face comes to mind, and my throat constricts at the emotions that race through me. I can no longer deny that I've fallen in love with him, but even after all the time we've spent together, I'm no closer to knowing if he feels the same way about me. But one thing's for sure, Jamie is his priority, and I need to do my part to ensure that David wins sole custody of his son. Based on what I've heard about David's ex-wife, Jamie would be much better off growing up with his father. On the bright side, in exchange for helping David, I'm able to pull myself out of the debt Jordan left behind and focus on building my brand. Unfortunately, that also means I'll likely be left with a broken heart. I shake off my maudlin thoughts. This is your bed, so now you have to lay in it, Kayla. But first, some sangria. I start cleaning up my desk and putting away my files because Alexis should be arriving soon. As I'm locking up my store entrance, I see a familiar face outside the door. Valerie Peterson. She waves and gives me a slight smile that doesn't quite reach her eyes. I unlock the door and pop my head out to greet her. Oh, hello again. I'm sorry, but we're about to close for the evening. Perhaps you could come back tomorrow? She pouts, her blood-red lips turned downward. Could you stay open a little while longer? I have an important event this evening, and I really need to purchase a pair of earrings I saw last time I was here. She gives me a pleading look. My outfit simply won't be perfect without those earrings. Well, In a flash, her imploring look turns calculating. She raises one perfectly shaped brow at me. There'll be a lot of influencers at that party, you know. You'd be stupid to waste this opportunity. Is it just me, or did she have a particular emphasis on the word stupid? I sigh inwardly, knowing that I really can't afford to lose any customers, no matter how self-important they might be. I open the door wider and gesture for her to come inside. Very well, I say, trying not to let my annoyance show. But we really do need to close the store in a few minutes. She approaches a display case while I walk over the turn on the lights. I ask over my shoulder, "Which earrings did you want to purchase?" She doesn't respond, so I turn to ask her again when something heavy slams against the side of my head. Startled, I fall to the floor, banging my shoulder on the wooden tiles. I look up and see Valerie standing over me, her face a picture of fury. "I can't believe David is actually going to marry you," she screeches. "You're so stupid, so stupid. What the hell is going on?" I look around for my cell phone but realize that I left it in my office. "I don't understand." She throws her head back and laughs, the sinister sound sending chills down my spine. "Of course you don't, you stupid cow. Everything was going just fine until David decided that he didn't want me anymore." I touch my temple carefully, wincing when pain slices through me. David? What does David have to do with this? Valerie doesn't seem to hear me. Well, if he doesn't need me, then I don't need him either. But he's not going to take my golden goose away from me. She cackles and continues. "So what if I screwed our accountant? It's not like David was enough to keep me satisfied anyway. Married people cheat all the damn time, so who is he to pretend to be so high and mighty?" I stare at her in horror, unable to believe what I'm hearing. This crazy woman is David's ex-wife. I try to scramble away from her, but she steps over me, her eyes pinning me to where I'm lying. "Where do you think you're going?" She looks at me with a mix of insane glee and malice before slamming my head against the counter. The pain makes me lightheaded and everything goes to black.
Chapter 17. David. Excellent presentation, Finley. I think we'll see each other frequently after this. I watch the young man's face light up when I deliver my final decision. He has to learn how to control those facial expressions if he wants to swim with the sharks, but I let him have this victory today. He's fresh off of college, innovative, and incredibly smart for his age. He has time to learn. I'll have to look over the proposal one more time, but pretty much all we have to do is finalize. Am I right, team? Nods and whispers circulate the room as they express their approval. Well, looks like we're done here, I say, closing my folder and standing up. My team proceeds to exit the meeting room, but I stay behind to personally congratulate the young man. I think there's a lot of potential in this project, Finley. I look forward to its completion. Thank you so much for your trust, he flusters, and I try to hide my amusement. Likewise. I shake his hand one last time and walk to Alice's desk to ask for my next schedule. What do I have next? Another meeting at 3 o'clock, my assistant informs me. I raise an eyebrow. Do I have time to rest? Yes, you do, Alice giggles. Enjoy your hours off. You know I will. I laugh before going back to my office. I ignore my desk and head straight for the couch. Finally, a breather. I take the moment to rest my brain and enjoy the silence. I put my phone down and lean back, closing my eyes. It's not every day I get this much time to myself. Paperwork waits on my desk, of course, but none of them are urgent. So I let my mind wander. Wander to Kayla and my feelings for her. I know it now. I love her, there's no use denying it. I don't even know why I tried fighting my feelings. It was only bound to grow as we spent time together. It's a funny story. We met back in college, and I only saw her as my sister's best friend. Well, that's not accurate, more like I never made a move on her because she was my sister's best friend. Who would have known I'd fall in love with her years later? Some part of me wishes I asked her out back then. We could have been together in all those wasted years. But then, I wouldn't have Jamie. In truth, I don't truly regret marrying Valerie, because she gave me my son. If there's anything good that came out of our marriage, it's him. Jamie is my top priority. He will always be. And while I started this fake relationship with Kayla because I wanted to protect him, I also found the woman I want to be with. In a way, my failed marriage brought Kayla and me together. My heart swells with pride and happiness as I remember her interactions with Jamie. He likes her, and I know he's already accepted her as my new wife and his new mother. Kayla would be a wonderful mother, and this time she'll be his mother not only for a year, but for as long as she'll allow it. Because I've made up my mind. I intend to make our relationship real. We will hold an actual wedding, and I'll marry Kayla for real. I'm tired of running away from my feelings. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll woo her if I have to. I smile at that. I feel confident about doing that. She did admit to having a crush on me when we were in college, and we've already slept together twice. I know it isn't merely because of sexual attraction. Just then my phone vibrates from an incoming call. It's Alexis. That's odd. She never calls me at this time of day. She knows I only take business calls while I'm at work, and she respects that. It could be an emergency. My stomach drops at the possible scenarios, so I press answer immediately. David? Alexis screams as expected. You couldn't answer your phone faster? Whoa, what's going on? Are you okay? I hear my sister sniff as if she's been crying before she called me. Her voice loses its earlier bite when she speaks again. It's Kayla. Oh God, David, she was attacked. What? I yell, rising from my seat. Is she okay? Where is she now? We're at Genesis Medical Center. They told me it wasn't serious, but I don't really know anything yet. Alexis releases a shaky breath, and I can tell that she's scared out of her mind. Hey, I keep my voice gentle as I try to comfort my little sister. Have faith, Alexis. She'll be fine. I hope so. She sobs. Just come here for now, okay? They're treating her right now, but God, David, I'm so scared for her. I know, I'll be there soon, I promise. Alexis recounts how she found Kayla as I turn off my computer. I gather my things and stride out of the office hurriedly. Alice, I'm leaving. Cancel all my appointments for the rest of the day, I tell my secretary as I pass her desk. She doesn't pry for details and just gives a curt nod in understanding. I'm almost at the elevator when Alexis reveals, "It's that jerk, Valerie." What? I freeze in my tracks. Your crazy ex-wife assaulted my best friend. Alexis sobs while my head floods with questions. How did she know where Kayla worked? How the hell did it happen? Why would she go this far? This is all my fault. I'm on my way, Alexis. Wait for me. I hang up as I go inside the elevator, my heart hammering throughout the ride down. I run to my car as soon as I reach the parking lot, slam the door close and drive fast. Panic and guilt boil in my chest as reality makes itself clearer. Kayla's hurt, and it's all because of me. Please, Kayla, please be okay.
I hope you're enjoying this audiobook by Vic Savon. If you want to keep hearing more audiobooks, then please hit that subscribe button and like the video. It may seem insignificant, but the more people that subscribe, the easier it is to produce more audiobooks in the future. So please help us out and subscribe to our channel. Thank you for listening. And now back to your book.
Chapter 18. Kayla. I open my eyes slowly. The bright fluorescent lights and unfamiliar surroundings confuse me for a moment. Am I in a hospital room? I try to think back to my last memory, but my mind is blank. Turning my head, I'm relieved to see my best friend sitting beside the bed. Alexis, my voice comes out hoarse. She looks up from her cell phone with a startled gasp. Rushing to my side, she grasps my hand gently. "Oh my God, Kayla. We were so worried about you. How are you feeling?" I close my eyes, trying to clear the jumbled thoughts that are racing through my head. I gradually become more aware of the aches and pains I feel, but I still can't figure out why I woke up in a hospital bed. Why can't I remember anything? My head hurts and my shoulder feels sore. I glance around the room. What am I doing in the hospital? Alexis looks at me with worry and concern. "You don't remember?" I shake my head, wincing when the slight movement causes my head to throb painfully. "Not really." "Valerie attacked you in your store. She hit you with something that looked pretty heavy, and you lost consciousness after falling to the floor." She lets out a deep breath. Thankfully, I was standing right outside when it happened, so I called 911 as soon as I saw her hit you. I don't remember any of that at all. I frown when Alexis's comments sink in. "Hang on a second. How do you know Valerie?" "What do you mean?" With her brows knitted, she gives me a puzzled look that tells me she's as bewildered as I am. "She's David's ex-wife. If I wasn't lying in bed, I would have collapsed upon hearing that startling piece of information. Valerie is David's ex-wife? My mind races as I try to think back to the first time Valerie visited my store. She asked so many questions about my engagement ring and my fiancé. At the time, I thought she was just your typical nosy socialite. But now I realize why she'd been so strangely pushy. "I didn't know," I murmur, bewildered. "She came to the shop and I thought she was just another customer. I think it was a couple of days after David took me to the company party." "That crazy woman," Alexis growls. "She must have heard about your engagement and went completely off the rails. She always had a jealous streak, even when she and David were married." Probably noticing the worried look on my face, she squeezes me hand reassuringly. "But you don't have to worry about Valerie any longer. The police were able to track her down, so they now have her in custody." She sniffs contemptuously. "I hope they gave her a full cavity search." Judging from Valerie's behavior, David was right to fight for sole custody of Jamie. I find it hard to imagine David agreeing to marry a woman like that. And it's even harder to imagine a sweet boy like Jamie having a mother like her. Thoughts of David enter my head, and I feel my throat constrict with disappointment at his absence. I glance at the window and notice that it looks dark outside. How long have I been here? You've been here since last night. The doctors ran a bunch of tests, but you were pretty out of it. Have you seen David? I try to keep my tone casual, but I can tell from Alexis's amused smirk that she can see right through me. David stayed with you all night, but he had to leave a few hours ago to meet with the detective at the station. David and his lawyers said that they'll be charging Valerie with assault. Her eyes suddenly widen. She snaps her fingers as though she just remembered something. I completely forgot to let the nurses know that you've woken up. Hang on a sec. I'll be right back. Alexis jumps up and steps out of the room. I let my head sink deep into my pillow, still reeling from the turn of events. I never would have imagined that becoming David's fake fiancé would land me in the hospital. Then again, I also didn't imagine that I'd develop real feelings for him while pretending to be his fiancé. But here I am. Alexis walks back into the room, followed by a middle-aged doctor. He gives me a warm smile, his eyes crinkling at the corners. Good evening, Kayla. I'm Dr. Stevens, he says. Glad to see you've woken up. How are you feeling? I'm fine, but my head feels a little heavy, and I must have hit my shoulder when I fell. That's to be expected. He nods while scribbling something on my chart. Any other complaints? I nibble my lower lip anxiously. I can't seem to remember what happened last night. Should I be worried about that? Temporary amnesia isn't unusual in patients who take a hard knock to their head. I'd expect your memories to restore themselves in a few weeks, if not less. He gives me a pointed look before turning to Alexis. Would it be all right for me to speak with Kayla alone? Of course. I'll just head out and grab myself something to eat. David should be returning soon, too. She reaches over to squeeze my hand before stepping out. Dr. Stevens turns to me and takes a seat beside my bed. So we ran all of the usual tests, and I'm happy to say that they all came back clear. Assuming your condition doesn't change, you should be well enough to be discharged tomorrow. I breathe a sigh of relief, thankful that I didn't sustain any serious injuries. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. He flips through my chart and makes a few more notes before testing my vision with a pen light. Satisfied with the results, he smiles at me. Fortunately, your fall didn't hurt the baby. My heart stutters. The baby? I had a feeling you aren't even aware of the pregnancy, since I'd guess it's only about 2 weeks along. He looks at me expectantly. But the blood test confirms that you're definitely pregnant, Kayla. Congratulations. I open my mouth to respond, but nothing comes out. Looking down at my flat belly, I wonder if it's possible for my life to become any more complicated than it is right now.
Chapter 19. David. It's late. I didn't expect to stay long at the police station. I rush through the hospital halls to get back to Kayla as fast as I can. She was still unconscious when I left earlier, and I can only hope she's awake by now. The doctor assured me that she's safe, but I can't completely stop worrying until she opens her eyes. Last night was one of the worst nights of my life. Seeing Kayla lying motionless in bed broke my spirit, and I couldn't leave her bed until I need to meet with the detective a few hours ago. At least I got my revenge on Valerie by charging her with assault, and as an added good news, Elias practically guarantees I'll receive sole custody of Jamie because her action counts as a criminal record. I hate what Valerie did and the woman she has become, not to mention how Jamie would feel when he finds out what his mother did. But she brought this upon herself, and I could never let Jamie be raised by a violent mother. What he needs is someone like Kayla who would genuinely consider what's best for him. I reach Kayla's room and open the door slowly, but I stop as soon as I hear Dr. Stevens' voice. Fortunately, your fall didn't hurt the baby. A baby? What is he talking about? The baby. Kayla echoes my thoughts, her voice trembling. None of them have noticed the door ajar yet, so I hover, listening in as my heart pounds against my chest. The doctor explains that the baby is about 2 weeks old. Then I remember the night of the company party, going home to her apartment, having sex on her couch. The blood test confirms that you're pregnant, Kayla. Congratulations. I can't see Kayla's face from where I'm standing, but from the silence that follows, I'm sure she's just as shocked as am I. I can't believe it. Kayla's pregnant, with my baby. Our baby. My God, I must be dreaming. All I wanted was a proper mother for Jamie, but now I'm having a baby with the woman I love. How did I get so lucky? My future plays before my eyes. We get married before Kayla's belly gets too big for her to move. I'll fulfill all her requests. Venue, flowers, guests, everything. I'll wake up next to Kayla from now on. We'll spend lazy weekend mornings as husband and wife, her baby bump getting bigger each month, and Jamie bonding with Kayla through our unborn baby. I imagine my son taking care of his new mother as he brings her breakfast in bed and talks to his sibling. After the baby is born, we can move to a bigger place. In a few years, our family could even grow even bigger. Jamie will be the best big brother to his siblings. Wow, I'm getting ahead of myself. I haven't even told Kayla how I feel yet. But if there were ever any doubts left in me, they're gone now. A baby with her is the ultimate sign from the universe. Confessing my love and asking her to marry me is the only decision left for me. Without another thought, I push the door open completely and walk inside. Kayla and the doctor look at me with contrasting expressions on their faces. David, you're here, Kayla breathes, her complexion pale from the shock of seeing me. She's beautiful even in her shaken state. I take it you heard my news? Dr. Stevens greets warmly as he shakes my hand. Congratulations on the baby. You two are very fortunate. Yes. I nod at him with a smile. Thank you, Doctor. It sure is news to me. I turn my attention to Kayla. Her head is down, hiding her face from my view. If you don't mind, Dr. Stevens, I'd like to speak to my fiancée alone. Of course, I'll leave you to it, he tells me. Addressing Kayla, he adds, I'll come back tomorrow for a final checkup. Enjoy your night. I watch him until he closes the door before sitting on the bed. Kayla's shoulders stiffen and we stay in silence for a while. I don't mean to scare her as I try to get my words in order, but Kayla breaks down before I have the chance to speak. I hear her sobs first. Then I notice her trembling shoulders. Kayla, I call softly, reaching for her hand. What's wrong? I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, David, she cries, tears falling down her cheeks. I move closer to her and take her face in my hand, wiping her tears away. Shh. There's nothing to be sorry for. No, she insists, shaking her head frantically. I should be. This is all my fault. She cries harder, her breaths turning into hiccups. I pull her into an embrace and stroke her hair to calm her down. You did nothing wrong. It takes two to make a baby. But I don't want you to feel obligated just because I'm pregnant. I say gently as I lean away so that we're face to face. I want to keep the baby. She sniffs. You do? I smile at her and once more wipe her cheeks. Of course. I look at her directly in the eyes. I love you, Kayla. I confess with all the emotion I can pour. I'm head over heels in love with you. I want a family with you. Her eyes grow wide, shimmering with tears while processing my words. Her reply isn't something I expected. Are you sure? I can't help the chuckle that escapes me. At least she stopped crying. I've never been more sure of anything. Her disbelieving expression transforms into joy as she finally smiles brightly. Tears start streaming down her face again, but this time, she wipes them off herself. These are happy tears, she hiccups, beaming at me. I love you too, David. So much. My heart soars, and I kiss her slowly, savoring how her lips feel on mine after knowing how we feel for each other. It's exhilarating. Let's get married, I say when I pull back. For real.
Chapter 20. Kayla. If everything's just a dream, then I don't want to wake up. Ever. I still can't believe how my life took a turn. In 3 months, everything changed. Now, I think I'm a believer in fate. Everything indeed happens for a reason. After my terrible ex-boyfriend Jordan left me a ton of debt, I thought I wouldn't survive the crisis. I might be able to pay all the loans, but that would also mean I would have 0 resources left. Just when I'm about to lose all hope, my paths crossed once again with David Preston. Because of our needs and situation, we agreed to have some kind of business deal and help each other out. But as the days went on, what we thought was just a fake relationship turned out to be real. We fell in love with each other as we spent more time together. Both of us got more than what we bargained for. We had our fair share of drama, especially from David's manipulative and cunning ex-wife, but thank goodness everything's over now. A month ago, David and I officially tied the knot. It was just a small and intimate gathering, as we invited only those who are closest to us. Alexis was my maid of honor, while Jamie stood as his dad's best man. How adorable he looked when he walked the aisle like a grown man wearing a tuxedo. The minister who officiated the wedding shared with us a beautiful message about finding your soulmate. I believe David is my soulmate, and I'm lucky enough to find him in this lifetime. There wasn't a dry eye in the place when David and I exchanged our vows. It was heartfelt and straight to the point. Everyone who knew what we went through couldn't help but be emotional. Finally, we're officially declared as man and wife. A short, sweet kiss sealed the deal. We had a small reception afterward where we celebrated and partied with the people whom we love. Our honeymoon was a simple one, as there are other things that we need to take care of after the wedding. We took some time off and spent 3 days and 2 nights at one of the posh resorts in Florida. Then it's back to our usual grind. We promised ourselves that we'll get a proper honeymoon once everything's been settled. As for rare gems, I can't fathom the growth that we've seen in the past weeks. Little by little, my designs got noticed by celebrities and well-known personalities. There are even times when we can no longer accept orders because we're full to the brim with projects. We've expanded and opened another store near Times Square. I've also gotten features and interviews in several local magazines and television shows. Rare Gems is now famous and is becoming a celebrity favorite. But one of the most exciting things that happened to my business is that my recent line of designs was featured in none other than Vogue magazine. Because of that, I'm now getting international orders. I had to hire more assistants so that we can keep up with the demand. Right now, I've got everything that I need: a loving husband, a family, and a flourishing business. In about 6 months, we'll be meeting our baby. I couldn't ask for anything more. David and I are in the car, driving toward the courts. Today, the final verdict regarding the custody case of Jamie will be given. Even though we know that our chances of winning are great, we're still nervous, especially David. He didn't talk much while we're on our way. I just patted his arm and assured him that everything will be okay. We're seated at the chambers together with our lawyer, Elias Riley. David holds my hand tightly as we wait for the judge and other court staff to enter. After several agonizing minutes, the judge appears, and the clerk reads out the decision. I hold my breath as I listen. Now, this court has reviewed all the evidence presented. After a thorough examination and investigation, the sole custody of Jamie Preston is hereby granted to his father, David Preston. Our group erupts in cheers. I hug David tightly, and we shake hands with Riley. After completing some paperwork, we leave the court with smiles on our faces. What happened to Valerie? Unfortunately, She needs to face the consequences of what she did to me and my unborn baby. She's charged with 2 counts of assault and is spending some time in jail. At first, it's difficult to explain to Jamie what's happening, but he's an intelligent boy, and he seems to understand what's happening. I assured him that I'm not trying to replace his mom, but I'm going to take care of him and his dad to the best that I can. Everyone's tired after the little celebration that we had to celebrate our triumphs. Jamie's already sleeping in his room. I'm lying in bed, waiting for David to finish his shower so that we can go to sleep too. I didn't realize I've fallen asleep until David kissed me on the forehead. My eyes flutter open and I see his handsome face hovering above me. I smile at him. Hey there, it's me again. It's still pretty spicy in here, so if you want to get the full chapter, find it in the unabridged version on vixavonromance.com. Use code VIXA40 for 40% off your favorite audiobooks and ebooks. Let's move on.